Hello everyone and welcome to the hands-on demo on Amazon Elastic Kubernetes service. So first step will be to create an EKS cluster role, and this cluster role will be used by EKS cluster to perform all the cluster operations. So first log into AWS console. So I am at console home, and first I need to search for IAM to create the role. So I'll open that in a new tab. Click on roles, create role and AWS service, and search for EKS and select the second option, EKS cluster. Next is to add the permissions. So if you click next, it will be by default, it will be picked up, the correct permission policy will be picked up. So click on next and provide a role name. So I'll copy the name from the demo and click on create role. Next is to create an EKS cluster node group role. So this node group role will be used by EC2 instances. So EKS cluster will work on EC2 instances, and this will be used to perform operations on the EC2 instances. So again, for this we have to create a role. So click on create role, and for this AWS service, and select EC2 and keep EC2 selected, use case, and click on next. Next we have to add some permissions. So first permission that you have to add is Amazon EKS CNI policy. So this is used for networking interface. So CNI is for networking interface policy. So if I paste that, you should see that, and you select this one, first one, container network interface policy. And next is to so just don't click next, just select, and then we have to add two more policies. So total of 3 policies we have to add. Next is to add this one, Amazon EC2 container registry read only policy. So copy this and paste it and select this. So this gets added. So this one is the second one, and third one is Amazon EKS worker node policy. So add this. So then you click on next, and now you have to provide a name. So I will call this Amazon EKS node role. So if you scroll down, you will see all your 3 permission policies have been added, and then click on create role. Okay, the role is created. So we have seen all these permission policies. Next we will create a EKS cluster. So for that, go to console home and search for EKS and click EKS Elastic Kubernetes service. So we will call this cluster as demo EKS cluster. So I'll copy this from the demo and click add cluster, create, add the name. So you will see, because I have created this role, so it has automatically it got automatically populated. So keep all other settings as default. It has already picked up the latest version, and keep the support as extended. So after 26 months it will charge you, but anyway we will delete it, but otherwise both are same. So if you read that it is after 26 months, it will start charging extra. So if you are starting a production cluster, only these things you have to keep in mind. So sorry, after 14 months, because standards is there till 14 months, it will cost you less, but then they will auto upgrade. But for extended, the support will be there for the 26 months but after 14 months they will start charging you extra. And keep cluster access as default, allow cluster administrator access, and cluster authentication method also, EKS API and config map. Click on next. So it will automatically so just choose the default VPC, and in my case I just want it to spread over 2 availability zones, so I'll just choose US East 1A and 1B. So I'll remove all others, so I'll keep 1B. Okay, I have couple of extra RDS private subnets, so I'll just remove that. So I'll keep 1B and I'll remove this, and 1D, and these are from my previous demo. So these are for the RDS service, relational database service. So I'll remove this and this. So I just have US East 1A and 1B, these 2 availability zones. And rest other settings you can keep as default. Click on next. Configure the setting about observability. Anyway, I will not be making any changes over here. So these are the things that I have selected, and click on next. And this is VPC CNI. So finally review and create. So there are no changes. Just confirm everything is related to network is correct. Okay. Then click on create. So this will take few minutes to get ready. And we have seen all these settings. They will be available in the slides also in case you want to refer. So I will pause the video for some time, and when the status is active, I will resume. So okay, after around 10-11 minutes, the cluster is ready. So the status is active, and it took some around 10 minutes or 11 minutes, something like that. Okay, so the next step is to create a cluster node group. So node group is basically, as the name suggests, is like a group of nodes which are basically your EC2 instances. So for this, go to the compute tab. So here the third one, and if you scroll down, you can add node group. So there is no direct add nodes option, but add node group option is there. So click on add node group and give it a name. Okay, and select the node IAM role. So here you will see the second node role which I created, it's automatically populated. So I will select that and keep all the settings as default and click on next. Now here you can select the AMI type. So just choose the default Amazon Linux and capacity on demand. Instance type, I'll just go with the minimum T3 medium. And herein I will just change to 1, so just to save on cost. And maximum unavailable, I'll just keep the default 1. Now I can select the subnets. So because I just have one, I will just remove the US East 1B. So this setting is coming from the cluster. So cluster we have to give at least minimum 2. But herein we can remove one of the AZs. So I'll just remove 1B and click on next. So you can review and create and click create. So this will also take some time. So I'll just pause the recording and I'll just resume once it's done. But anyway, we'll just review the slide for what we have done. So this one name, and other settings as default, selecting the subnets as we have done, and review and create, and click on create. So that's the, so now I'll just pause the video. Yeah, so after around 2 minutes, this demo node group is also ready. So as I can see, status is active and one of the nodes has been provisioned. So this is, if you go to the second tab, nodes, so you'll see the nodes which are part of this node group, and it is ready, and it took around 2 minutes. So next we will play around with kubectl, because we have installed the Kubernetes cluster. I will deploy a sample Nginx deployment and make it available via service, and then we will just check it out through the load balancer. So for that, launch AWS Cloud Shell. So herein, if you click on Cloud Shell, it should open in a new tab, or in the same window. So you can just click and open that in a new tab. So I'll click Cloud Shell. Okay, so once you see something like this, you can click here to open this in a new full tab window, and I will close this so that I have more space to work with. Okay. Okay, so I am in the Cloud Shell, and then first is to set up your AWS CLI with EKS. So we do AWS EKS update. So it's already had your Cloud Shell already have the kubectl and kubeconfig. All we are saying is update our local kubeconfig with demo EKS cluster. So this should match your cluster name, and it will make all the necessary backend changes so that you can work with kubectl directly. Okay, so it added a new context with our cluster. So if I do a get context, so I should see, and this is the default context. So now I can do a get nodes. So I can see one node, and I can run some additional command like get caller identity. So this is the direct who is the caller, and I can do a get pods. So I can see all the pods of the default vanilla Kubernetes EKS cluster, and this is optional, this command. So I'll fix this also. Okay, next I will be deploying Nginx deployment. So this has two parts. One is a deployment, and the name is Nginx deployment, and it is using the Nginx web server, and then there is a service object which is basically exposing this Nginx deployment, and it is of type load balancer, which will directly provision a load balancer, AWS load balancer for us, and we should be able to check out this Nginx deployment. So I'll copy this. So this has created that file, and so I can just do, just to show you that. Okay, so file is there, and I can now deploy this particular file. So it has created a deployment as well as service. So if I do kubectl get deployments, so I can see Nginx 2 of 2 ready, and do a get pods. So my pods are also running, and I will get the service. Okay, so this particular service is, this is the external IP where it is exposed, and this is the cluster IP which is internal. So you just copy the whole external IP and type in a browser window. So after around 1 or 2 minutes, you will see that Nginx is being exposed publicly, So it is using the elastic load balancer ID, and this is on HTTP. There is nothing after the .com. So this is how we create a deployment, Kubernetes deployment, create a service, and that service type is load balancer. And because it's type load balancer, so it has provisioned a AWS load balancer, and then which in turn has exposed that Kubernetes service. So now we will do the cleanup. So I'll remove the deployment. Next, I will delete the node group. So I am at the node group page. So I can so if you are at this page, or you can come to here, and if you go to compute, you can delete from here also. So select this particular node group, click on delete. So this will also terminate your backend EC2 instance, which is the part of a node group. Next, I can just go ahead and delete the demo EKS cluster. So if I go to click on clusters, I can select this and click on delete. So node group is being deleted, so I just have to wait for some maybe a minute or a few seconds to delete this. So I'll just cancel it. But in the meanwhile, I can delete the EKS node role. So that node role is Amazon EKS node role. So I am at here. So I click this particular EKS node role and delete. Next, I can just delete the cluster role as well, which is EKS cluster role. So sorry, add in the rows. So I'll just search for this EKS cluster role and delete. So you can see all the roles which I have created got deleted. Next, I can just try it one last time, otherwise I will try it later. Okay, so I'll try this one later. So make sure if you're not using, you just delete all the objects. And with that, that's all. Thanks for watching.